So tonight is somatic breath work. What we're going to do is alternate my sessions between the energy clearing somatic process and then calm breathing, which gets into more relaxing, stripped down traditional pranayama. So tonight is somatic breath work. Many of you are very familiar with this process. So also in line with the theme of October, honor what you need, right? Honor what you need. So on theme with that, I would highly recommend, especially for somatic breath work, right? With the calm pranayama breathing, it's nice to carve out the space and it's a great thing to do, but you could kind of pop in and out. You kind of stay in this regular consciousness to whatever degree. But in this somatic energy clearing process, honor what you need. I highly, highly, highly recommend if you have an Apple Watch on, take that thing off. If you've got notifications on, shut them off. Even if you've got right, beloved pets in the room, if they're hanging out over there, that's good. If they're just licking your face a bunch, I mean, honor what you need, but it's good to just carve out the space for yourself here, especially with somatic breath work. So much about the breath, which again I'll get to, and I'll just bullet point it because many of you have done this session with me, this process with me many times, and so you know the drill. But for those of you that are new, I'll give a quick bullet point. But when we get the breath moving, when we start to get the breath moving, and I'll have a recorded track to support us in this process, when we get the breath moving, the invitation or the ideal situation, again, honor what you need, everything's an invitation, but the ideal situation is you're lying down someplace where you'll be completely uninterrupted. It's nice to have a blanket and also a pillow nearby. And interestingly enough, the pillow is not for laying on. You can if you want to, but the pillow is good to have nearby because at a certain point, if you want to make sounds, let out sighs or laughter or any kind of sound that wants to move, it's good to have the pillow nearby to make some sound into the pillow. Soma refers to the body, and this is a clearing process to use the breath in essentially a circular style pattern, to use the breath like a broom to sweep out where a stress has been accumulated, pressure, life pressure, anywhere where we've been limiting ourselves. And I'll just say, as a point here, we don't always necessarily do what's good for us. We do what's familiar. And sometimes when we're carrying these deeply held points of stress in the body, it starts to create these patterns, these certain patterns that we have. I could go more deeply into that at other times, and some of you have heard me talk about this before. But all just to say, when we have these stuck energy patterns in our body, they become familiar, right? So if we walk around hunched like this and all tight with a closed heart, it's not that it's good for us, but it is familiar. So if all of a sudden we start to breathe and things start to open up, it may actually feel unfamiliar. So the invitation is to really move the breath, to start to explore and even percolate some unfamiliar feelings if that comes up. And that's how we shift the energy. That's how we set ourselves free of old conditioning, of outdated stories, of stress and pressure, of energy that is no longer ours to carry, that may have been impressed upon us from other people or situations or whatever comes up in life. So, all that said, hopefully by now you have a space where you can lie down and a pillow and a blanket nearby. And we'll get started with that in just a moment. But before we do, let's do a little centering and an intention setting. So if you'd like to land, you could do this seated, or if you're already lying down, please, by all means, remain so. And as you're ready, just landing in your seat or lying down, just take a soft gaze or allow your eyes to gently close. And go ahead and welcome a full breath all the way in. And let out a sound or a sigh. Let's do another one just like that. Breathing into the belly, into the chest, just your fullest expansive inhale. Let out a sound or sigh. Just letting the energy of the day, the work emails, the family stuff, the pets, the plants, just any sort of obligation, just melt away on the exhale. Honor what you need and carve out this time for yourself. It's quite frankly the most generous thing we can do at times is to carve out this time to come home to ourselves, to reconnect to our authenticity, to allow ourselves to feel fully. And that's what we're up to tonight. So, as you just allow the breath to flow gently in and out right now, just allow yourself to notice where your body is contacting the surface beneath you. And just allow yourself to fully land exactly where you are. And you don't have to be perfect, whatever that would mean. You don't have to figure anything out in this moment. Just let yourself be here fully. And an invitation to welcome a hand or perhaps both hands to your heart space. And just welcome some big breaths in, allowing them to gently fall out as you feel your heart beginning to expand and open. And through the wisdom of your heart in this moment, see if a word or a feeling arises that you wish to receive in tonight's session. So maybe that's peace or clarity or love, confidence. So whatever word, whatever feeling arises for you through the wisdom of your heart that you wish to receive. And just to know that this word, this feeling lives in you. So it's not so much about finding it or seeking it, but just clearing out any barriers or anything, any obstructions, energetically or otherwise, that have been getting in the way of your peace, of your clarity, of your confidence, of your love, whatever your word or feeling is this evening. Just once more, really fully connecting to that word, that intention. And we'll start with the breath in just a moment. Just noting that your breath, your practice tonight is to experience your breath as a way to clear out the obstruction to your intention, to clear that space, to open that channel fully. So let's welcome a big breath in. Let out a sound or sigh. Beautiful. So now as you're ready, feel free to transition to lying down if that's comfortable for you. That's what I would recommend, but completely up to you. If you prefer seated, no problem. I just wouldn't stand while you're doing this. But other than that, right? So seated, lying down if you can. So what we'll be working with tonight as a clearing pattern will be very simple. 2 sips of inhale followed by an exhale. Now, typically we do the clearing patterns through the mouth, but I'm going to offer you an invitation tonight to start with the nose. Now, not to be confusing, but you have an option here. You can start with the nose, but you can switch to the mouth at any time. You can alternate nose and mouth. I want you to just take this practice and be as comfortable as possible. The main thing is you'll hear a recording start in just a moment. The main thing is to breathe in the rhythm of the recording. And the recording is going to sound something like this. Again, 2 sips of inhale with an exhale. The recording is going to sound something like this. Right? So it's going to sound like in, out, in, out. And again, nose or mouth, it's up to you. Your only job is to stay with the rhythm of the recording, right? We'll be clearing just for about 10 minutes or so, maybe a little less, but you don't even have to worry about the time. I'll take care of that just so you have an idea. And again, your only job is to stay with the recording, stay with the breath. And as the breath starts to move, it will start to shift and rearrange whatever blockages have been getting in the way of the intention that you have set. If at any point you feel a little too tingly or you feel too much prana or life force or energy and it feels like a little too much, you can slow the breath down at any time. The invitation, though, is to experience and explore the sensations that arise as the breath continues to move. So that's the invitation. Honor what you need. Just know the deeper you go with your breath, the more clearing you will experience. But it's your journey, your ride. Invitation is there. Okay. So just getting settled in now. I'm going to pull up the recording here. So just lying down here, allowing the eyes to gently close, allowing yourself to be fully held by the floor, by the earth beneath you. And again, you can start with the nose and switch to the mouth at any time, completely up to you and your body. And let's begin. In, out. In, out. That's it. Just follow along. All you have to do is breathe with the rhythm. In, out. Staying with the rhythm as you allow the body to soften. breath into any areas that you have been carrying stress or tension. Letting go, control, and just following the breath. To take in just 5% more air now. Really letting go on the exhales. If the body feels tense or resistant, you can shake out the hands, the arms, the legs, really drawing the breath all the way in, clearing space. If you're feeling sleepy or tired, stay with the breath, letting it all you're noticing feelings or emotions arise, just allow yourself to breathe into them. Let the energy feeling good starts with feeling fully. Just let yourself feel. Taking in a bit more air now. Really opening up the body. It's okay to let go. The last bit here, really drawing the breath in, just creating space for your attention to flow through you. I'd like to let out a sound. If you've got your pillow nearby, you can let out a loud sound if you need to. Or even try on a laugh, even if it feels silly or forced. Just shake the energy up and let it move. And now just starting to slow the breath down. Let's welcome a full breath all the way in and let it all the way go. Draw a full breath all the way in. Let it all the way go. Full breath all the way in and hold it at the top. What message does your heart have for you? Noticing how that message resonates in your body. And let the breath go whenever you need to. And now just a deep, slow breath. breath, breathing your heart's message all the way in. Yourself to feel fully what is present for you right now. And breathing in to that feeling. Trusting your heart, trusting your body, the wisdom that lives in you. And to connect. And allowing yourself now to connect to your intention, that word or feeling. And just allowing yourself to feel the full resonance of that feeling in your body. And to breathe that feeling in to every cell. That intention. And with each exhale, simply, we're going to close our session with a couple minutes of making the sound of VOO. So VOO. VOO. All right, just find your own rhythm, your own timing. Breath in through the nose as the belly fills, and then VOO. In through the nose, belly fills. About another minute, just allow the body to soften around your experience. In through the nose, belly fills. And two more completely in your own time. And as you're ready, just let it all fall away. And just notice what you're feeling. Just welcoming a full breath in, letting out a sound or a sigh. If you'd like here to welcome your hands to gently move to your heart space. Just notice what you're feeling here in your heart. Notice if anything has shifted or changed for you in your feeling. Just notice how your breath is moving now. Just acknowledging that sometimes it is not about fixing things or figuring things out. Sometimes it's just creating the space to breathe and feel. Just thanking yourself for your practice this evening. For creating some space to shine your brightest light, the light of authenticity, the radiance from your heart. So one more big breath in, letting out a sound or sigh. And then just as you're ready, if you want to welcome some gentle movement into your hands and into your feet. And any gentle kind of stretch or move that feels right to your body here, honoring what you need, our October theme. And then only as you're ready, just gently rolling to one side. And while you're there, you can just take a moment to notice the feeling of your body contacting the surface beneath you. And nothing more and nothing less, just notice sensation in the body. And then only as you're ready, and only if you feel like it, you can eventually make your way to seated. And as you land in your seat, just taking a moment to notice the floor beneath you or the surface beneath you. And if you've got any um, thoughts or things you want to jot down in a notebook, feel free to do that. But otherwise, just take a quiet moment to reflect inward. To one more time connect to your intention. To remind yourself that that word came up for you because it lives in you. It lives in you always. It's only ever a question of what can sometimes get in the way. And whenever you notice that something is in the way, you can always just breathe. Breathe into it. Feel your way through it. It's not about being perfect. It's not about fixing. It's not about figuring out. Just breathe into it, and the breath can shift the energy. Right? Your prana, your life force, your chi. You can move it with your very own breath anytime. Beautiful. Okay. So just coming back into the room, noticing what's around, noticing different colors and textures in the space around you. And if you'd like now, we can open up the microphones here, and also the chat is available on the side here. So I'd love to open it up. You know, we have this beautiful community, this beautiful space here, and I'd love to connect with you, to hear from you, anything about your experience that you'd like to share, or if you have questions or curiosities about the practice, always happy to talk more. And I always like to say too, just anything about the practice that you're curious, like speaking into the space here. You could also reach out to me anytime. I'll share my personal email in here. Eve says, loved the VU sound. My meditation finished with tingly hands. It's a great session, Jon. Thank you. Thank you, Eve, and beautiful. Thank you for reflecting on the VU sound. You know, we use Om, beautiful, all manner of chanting, Om Namah Shivaya, right? There's all these beautiful chants that we can use. And the sound of VU, maybe this is very just Western of me, but very simple. There's no real meaning behind the word VU. It's just a sound. But that comes from Dr. Peter Levine, who's one of my favorite trauma specialists that I love to read his books. I love the metaphors he uses, and he oftentimes with clients will use the sound of VU as a way of stimulating the vagus nerve, right? So very simply put, when we make that sound of VU, or when we make the sound of Om, or when we chant, the vibration that we create in the body, especially the more and more we can soften around it, allow the body to ease around that vibration of that sound, we're stimulating the vagus nerve and giving a sense of safety and comfort to our body, to our nervous system at the deepest level. And however it was, he found that the sound of VU, VOO, really taps into that space. So I like to use that sound of VU frequently. And even back in September, we did a September challenge, and I created this full body Om. Some of you know this. VU, Om, and did that for 2 minutes a day, every day for the month of September, just 2 minutes. And it could absolutely radically shift your nervous system just by the consistency. It doesn't even have to be long, but even just the VU sound, a couple minutes a day can really shift your nervous system and really drop in and relax. Sharon says, lovely. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for being here. And Christine says, I did a lot of vocalizing, growling. It was a great movement of energy out of my body, needed release. Thank you, Christine. That's beautiful. And I'm very glad to hear that. So much of our culture is sit down, be quiet, behave, all this stuff, right? And even in mindfulness practice, mindfulness practice is all about putting tools in the toolkit so you can use whatever you need. But just because we are in meditation, or just because we are in breath work, right? Read the room, I guess, like know the space you're in. But as far as I'm concerned, and those of you that have spent a lot of time with me, I have been referred to as anti-sanctimonious, a mindful disruptor. I remember someone said mindful disruptor. But the reason being, Christine, beautiful example, Christine, that you allowed the growling to move. Our soma, our body is very, very wise, right? I often say my body is right now digesting food and assimilating nutrients. My body is repairing. I just went for a run before the session this evening. My body's repairing the tissues and the muscles to heal from the run, right? My body is doing all these complex, all of ours, my heart is beating, right? All of our bodies right now are doing beautiful, complex, incredible processes all through the innate wisdom of our body, well beyond the conscious mind. So when we breathe, and the deeper we go with the breath in this somatic practice, the deeper we commit to the breath, the deeper we can get into these currents of the nervous system. And when we start to get really deeply in there, or the deeper we get in there, the more the soma will start to speak to us. And that language may come through sensation or feeling or emotion. It may come through vocalizations, like Christine mentioned, growling. It may come through laughter. It may come through tears. It may come through howling. It may come through, that's again with the pillow, huh, yelling into the pillow. It could come through any man singing, right? The soma starts to speak. And the best thing we could do for ourselves in this practice, especially in this somatic breathwork, energy clearing practice, is breathe deeply and fully and allow the soma to speak, to break down the walls of cultural conditioning, to break down the voices in the head, wherever they may have come from, that said to be quiet, behave, know your place, wherever those voices have come from in our lives, or even, and then this is a whole other thing we don't have to dive into right now, but even ancestrally, right? So if we have people in our lineage, I've made a video about this on my Instagram. I find when I work one-on-one with my female clients, especially, sometimes there is a long line of women that in work or in family situations that have been told to be quiet or whatever the thing may be, right? The awfulness of that trickle down effect, right? Through this current incarnation and lifetime and even past incarnations and lifetimes and all the way down the lineage. And that can block, for instance, movement of energy through the throat chakra, right? So allowing the growl, the yell, the scream, the laughter, whatever it may be, just allowing, giving ourselves the gift of spontaneity in this practice. The breath will awaken the soma, and the soma will take us exactly where it needs to go in order to clear any sort of stuck energy that's been held back or repressed, whether it's been repressed for a couple days or a couple decades or longer, right? The soma wakes up and the soma moves that energy. Yeah. So a little background there. So thank you again, Christine. Great to see you. And then Cindy said, thank you, Jon. Love the sound also. Wanting to chant now. Have a great week, everyone. Beautiful, Cindy. Yes, chanting, humming, singing, just creating that vibration in our throat and allowing it to reverberate through our body is so soothing. That's why you see kids do this very naturally. They'll right, like get this movement and the vibration and the humming and the singing. So always, always, always highly recommend. It's okay to feel, and in fact, it is one of the best ways to heal is to allow ourselves to feel fully. And again, just closing with one of my favorite sayings from one of my teachers: feeling good starts with feeling fully, right? And the breath can take us right to it. So thank you all so much for joining and for being here. It's 8 o'clock just now. And I just saw, okay, so let me just read these last two. Maria says, wow, Jon, such a powerful practice, just what I needed after an arduous 10-hour workday. Oof, yes. I feel so much lighter and re-energized. Beautiful. Love the VU vibrations. Did lots of experimenting with shifting my pitch. That's beautiful. Shifting pitches. That's beautiful, Maria. Awesome. Also did the longest breath blocks ever for me. Very relaxing and powerful practice. Beautiful. Yes, the more we practice breath work, the more the body starts to be able to retain the breath. I could talk about that in my next session, which is next Wednesday. Actually, I'll be doing Breathe It for Calm. So we could talk more about that in that session. But the more we practice breath work, the more metabolically healthy we become, essentially. So breath holds become easier, our endurance improves. These are all just beautiful side benefits. Liz says, thank you, Jon. Thank you. Great to meet you. Kathy, thank you. And thank you so much for being here.